On Valentine's Day, I, who was cheating, came home to find my husband kissing someone. Only then did I realize I had been the wife of a gay man for 3 years. Darling, don't go yet. Stay with me a little longer. Justin gently wrapped his arms around me, stopping me from getting dressed. He was such a sweet boy. I turned around and gently pinched his cheek. I have to go, you entertain yourself. See you around. The young boy's face was smooth and delicate, his skin felt wonderful to touch. I couldn't help but pinch it again. It was the kind of youthful plumpness and elasticity that no amount of expensive skincare could replicate. His muscles fascinated me. When he pressed down on me, entering me with his thick toy, it was something I had never felt with my husband. He could span my waist with his hands. He was still a student, like a kid brother to me, but the sheer male energy radiating from him made me feel incredible. Seeing Justin's accusing gaze, I cleared my throat and got up to gather my things. Before I left, I pulled out a wad of cash and gave it to him. It was Valentine's Day. I stood by the road for a moment, hesitating. Should I grab a bouquet from a roadside trash can or buy my husband a gift? After a moment, I decided to just pick up a belt from a nearby store. Cost me $8. I got home, and just as I pushed the door open, I heard the sounds of men panting from inside. This is outrageous. I can tolerate you cheating, but I won't tolerate you bringing someone back here. I adjusted my expression, kicked the door open, and demanded, "What the hell are you doing?" The sight before me froze me in place. My husband was passionately kissing another man. I stared at them in shock. My husband liked men. So I was the wife of a gay man. Seeing me, the two shirtless men quickly separated. Jackson pulled the other man into his arms and frowned at me. "Get out. You've got some nerve." Furious, I swung the belt I was holding, yelling, "Jackson, you're insane. What the hell? You didn't tell me you were gay when we got married. How disgusting." The man in Jackson's arms was crying pitifully. Seeing me hit Jackson with the belt, he tried to intervene. "You wicked woman. Why are you hitting him?" Regardless, I'm still Jackson's legal wife. Not only will I hit him, believe me, I'll whip you too. That man was such a whore. When I swung the belt at him, he let Jackson shield him. Jackson tenderly wiped the tears from his face and roared at me, "Enough, Natasha. Haven't you made enough of a scene?" He grabbed the belt. I yanked it a couple of times, but couldn't get it back, so I just threw it away. "Jackson, do you have any shame? You certainly didn't tell me you were gay when we got married, did you?" Jackson just held the man in his arms tighter. I was about to yell a couple more things when my phone rang. I answered it without thinking, "What is it?" There was a moment of silence, then the young man's pleasant voice came through the phone. "Hey baby, your underwear. You left it at my place." The two men on the bed stared at me, eyes wide. Only then did I realize my phone was too loud and they'd heard. After 2 seconds of silence, I just hung up. Jackson sat on the bed and sneered at me. "Seriously? Where do you get off telling me that?" I grabbed a suitcase and started packing. If he had told me he was gay before we got married, I would never have gone through with it. Of course, I'm not against gay people. I'm just disgusted by your behavior. I packed quickly. I threw the keys onto the table. Good riddance. I crouched by the roadside, looking at my best friend's and Justin's numbers on my phone, hesitating for a moment. Then I dialed Justin's number. "Hey, what's up? Missing me already? I've only been gone for less than 3 hours. Come pick me up. I'll send you my location." 10 minutes later, a Lamborghini pulled up in front of me. Wow, this kid. There's no way a male college student could afford this car. But I didn't ask. I got in, pretending not to recognize it. Justin looked at me, smiling happily and leaning in for a kiss. He didn't ask why I needed him to pick me up in the middle of the night. I gave him a perfunctory kiss. I got kicked out. I'm homeless. The implication was obvious. "Guess you'll just have to rough it and stay with me," he said. Justin was young and handsome and had great stamina. And seeing he was really rich, I wouldn't need to support him. We soon arrived at Justin's place. On the way, he'd stopped at a roadside supermarket to buy a few things. I asked him what he bought, and he just told me mysteriously, "Stuff we'll need later." Justin lived in a Maplewood Apartments building. His place wasn't big, but it was very clean. Watching him busy cooking for me, I asked, "Aren't you a student on financial aid?" How can you afford to live here? I could pretend I didn't recognize the Lamborghini, but it seemed impossible that a financially struggling male college student would live in a Maplewood Apartments building like this. He turned around, looking innocent. Oh, this? Well, it's a friend's place. They moved overseas, so it was empty, and since I'm studying nearby at Eastwood University, they let me stay here. You know, my parents died when I was young, so my relatives look out for me a bit more. Nice story, I applauded him internally. But on the surface, I had to go over and comfort him. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to bring up painful memories. Justin gave me a brave smile. I didn't really feel like comforting him further. I made myself at home, lounging on the sofa watching TV and munching on the fruits and snacks he'd prepared for me. Justin finished cooking quickly. 2 bowls of spaghetti. I stared silently at the 2 pieces of green vegetable in my bowl. I absolutely hate green vegetables. I looked up at Justin and gave him a small smile. Darling, could you get me a glass of water? While Justin got up, I quickly shoved the green vegetables into his bowl and covered them with pasta. I slurped down a couple mouthfuls of pasta, my mind already scheming how to mess with him. For the next few days, I stayed with Justin. Justin took excellent care of my daily needs. All I had to do was lounge around the apartment waiting for Justin to come back and cook for me. I just needed to give him money regularly, and I could enjoy this kind of life. Those days were so perfect that I didn't even react when Jackson called. I was woken up early by my phone ringing, so angry I almost threw it. I spoke to him through gritted teeth. Jackson, what do you want? If it's nothing, don't bother me again. Jackson's voice, full of fury, came through the line. Natasha, are you a pig? Do you know what time it is? Get up. Come out, we need to talk. I got up and poured a glass of water. Justin had gone to class. There was breakfast in an insulated container on the counter. There was a note on the fridge. It said, Darling, I went to class. Stay home and be good and wait for me. I left you breakfast. Remember to eat it. Remember to miss me, love you. Holding the note, I could automatically picture Justin's expression as he wrote it. The more I thought about it, the more I felt like Jackson was truly despicable. Transfer me $100,000 and I'll consider it. Are you blackmailing me, Natasha? Idly picking at my nails, I nonchalantly browsed through clothes. Your account has received a deposit of $100,000. Send me the address. After meeting Jackson, I went to pick Justin up from class. I also grabbed a strawberry ice cream cone from a vendor on the way. I didn't bother asking which classroom Justin was in. I just decided to wait for him under the old oak tree by the Eastwood University entrance. People were coming and going all around, but I spotted Justin immediately. The young man was wearing athletic gear, a backpack, and looking down at his phone. Just as I was about to call out to him, my phone buzzed with a notification. Class is over. What do you want for lunch? I glanced at the message, turned off my phone, and walked towards him. Hey, handsome, wanna be friends? Justin didn't even look up. Sorry, I have a girlfriend. I grabbed his backpack. Since when do you have a girlfriend? Justin looked up impatiently, then instantly broke into a smile when he saw me. Natasha, what are you doing here? Justin laughed and ruffled my hair. You're my girlfriend, silly. No. I'm certainly not your girlfriend. Looking at Justin holding my hand, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Was he really a poor college student, or was he hiding his identity? Justin, how am I supposed to believe you? The lingering warmth of Valentine's Day hadn't completely faded, and the streets of Ethelberg still held a hint of romance. Natasha sat in the car, looking out at the scenery, her heart a tangled mess. She had just been through the most dramatic turns of her life, from an ordinary wife to finding out her husband was gay, then getting involved in a complicated relationship with the young college student Justin. It all left her utterly exhausted. Since leaving Jackson's house, Natasha's life seemed to have entered a completely new orbit. Every day, she would receive a good morning text from Justin, always full of sweetness and affection. He would prepare breakfast before she woke up, wait patiently for her after work, and offer comfort when she was tired. These small details gradually helped her forget the pain of the past. Yet, deep down, Natasha still had one question. Who exactly was Justin? Was he truly just a regular college student? His financial situation seemed far beyond the average student. His place in the Maplewood apartments was neat and upscale, and his Lamborghini was impossible to ignore. One evening, Natasha accidentally found a photo in Justin's room. In the picture, Justin was standing next to a man in an expensive suit, with a luxurious hotel in the background. Her heart pounded. The photo seemed to suggest that Justin had a hidden background. "What are you looking at?" Justin's voice came from behind her, interrupting Natasha's thoughts. She quickly hid the photo and said casually, "Nothing, just looking around." Justin smiled slightly, walked over, and sat beside her. "Natasha, you're always so suspicious." His fingers gently touched her cheek, his eyes full of tenderness. Natasha's heart sped up involuntarily. She knew her face was flushed. She tried to change the subject. "Oh, by the way, do you have class today?" Justin shook his head. "Not today. I'll go shopping with you." There was a hint of expectation in his eyes. A few days later, Natasha and Justin attended a party together. At the party, Justin was very popular. Many people approached him, and he always responded politely. Natasha noticed that the way people looked at Justin always carried a hint of awe. In a corner of the party, Natasha met a lady wearing an expensive gown. The lady initiated a conversation, and the topic quickly turned to Justin. "Did you know? Justin's family is very influential," the lady said mysteriously, lowering her voice. "His father is one of the city's biggest entrepreneurs, and his mother is a renowned philanthropist." A complex mix of emotions surged in Natasha's heart. She thought of the photo, the Lamborghini, and his upscale place in Maplewood Apartments. It all seemed to confirm what the lady said. She tried to remain calm, smiling as she said, "Oh, really? I had no idea." The lady seemed to sense Natasha's unease and continued, "However, Justin has always been very low-key and never flaunts his background. He prefers to live life his own way." A hint of cunning flickered in her eyes. "But I heard he's been pursuing a girl lately. I wonder if it's you." Natasha's heart pounded, and she felt dizzy. She struggled to keep smiling and said, "I'm just a casual friend of his." But her voice betrayed her inner turmoil. After the party, Natasha couldn't stop thinking about what the lady had said. She decided to find an opportunity to talk to Justin properly, hoping to get the truth from him. One weekend afternoon, Natasha and Justin were home together. She mustered her courage and spoke up. "Justin, there's something between us, and I need you to answer me honestly." Justin looked up, a hint of confusion in his eyes. "What is it?" Natasha took a deep breath and asked, "Who are you really? Are you truly just a regular college student?" Justin's expression suddenly became complex. He was silent for a moment, then sighed softly. "I know you've been wondering about who I am. The truth is, I didn't tell you because I was afraid you'd leave me." His voice was low and gentle. Natasha's heart sped up, and she felt a prick of unease. Justin continued, "I do come from a wealthy family. My father is an important figure in Ethelberg. But I chose to come to Eastwood University because I wanted to live my own life, not be overshadowed by the family." A hint of determination flickered in his eyes. "It's you I love, Natasha, not your money or status. I just want to be with you. That's who I truly am." Natasha's emotions were complicated. She looked at Justin, trying to find answers in his eyes. She knew his words might only be part of the truth, but she was willing to believe him. Although Justin had explained his identity, Natasha's doubts weren't completely gone. A few days later, she received an anonymous letter with a photo enclosed, a picture of Justin having dinner with a young man in an upscale restaurant. Their relationship seemed very intimate. Natasha's heart sank. She decided to investigate it herself. She followed Justin and found that he did meet with the man frequently. On one accidental occasion, she overheard their conversation. "Justin, why are you hiding this from her? What exactly is your relationship?" the man demanded. Justin sighed. "I have my reasons. I can't let her know the truth." Natasha's heart filled with anger and disappointment. She realized she might just be a temporary figure in Justin's life, a tool he used to escape his family's pressure. Natasha decided to talk to Justin face to face. She arranged to meet him at a cafe. They sat across from each other, the atmosphere tense. "Justin, I need an explanation," Natasha said, her voice calm and firm. Justin looked up, a hint of guilt in his eyes. Natasha, I didn't want to hurt you. The reason I didn't tell you was because I was afraid of losing you. He paused, then continued, that man is my business partner. We're working on a project together. I couldn't let my family know, so I had to keep it a secret. Doubt still lingered in Natasha's heart, but she chose to believe Justin this time. She knew relationships sometimes involved secrets and misunderstandings, but what mattered was trust and understanding between them. I'm willing to give you another chance, Natasha said softly, but I hope you can trust me completely and stop keeping secrets. Justin nodded, a flicker of gratitude in his eyes. Thank you, Natasha. I'll prove my love with my actions. As time went on, Natasha and Justin's relationship gradually stabilized. Justin began to reveal more of his real life to Natasha, including his family, his business ventures, and the pressure he faced. Natasha also gradually let go of her suspicions about Justin, and they began to plan their future together. She understood that the most important thing in a relationship wasn't a perfect start, but the courage to face difficulties together. One sunny weekend, Justin took Natasha back to his hometown. They visited his family's business and met his parents. Although Justin's parents welcomed Natasha, she could sense their reservations about the relationship. We'll show them, Justin said on the way back, his eyes full of determination. Natasha smiled and squeezed his hand. I believe in you, and I believe in us. A few months later, Natasha and Justin decided to get engaged. At the engagement party, Justin's parents finally showed Natasha genuine smiles. They saw the happiness and change Natasha had brought to Justin and witnessed the couple's firm belief in their future. Natasha stood beside Justin, looking into his loving eyes, her heart filled with a peace she had never felt before. She knew that although their relationship had faced countless twists and turns, they had finally found their own happiness. Natasha and Justin were immersed in sweetness and happiness. However, marriage completely shattered all of Natasha's illusions about life. News of Natasha and Justin's engagement caused a stir in their social circle, especially within Justin's family. On the day of the engagement party, guests whispered among themselves, eagerly discussing the young couple's future. At the banquet, Justin's parents did a complete about-face, showering Natasha with warmth, which pleasantly surprised her. However, Natasha failed to notice the hidden currents lurking beneath the surface of the lavish celebration. On the evening of the engagement party, Natasha wore a shimmering silver gown, looking radiant, like a fairy descended to earth. She and Justin walked hand in hand, mingling with guests, accepting blessings from everyone. Just then, a powerful elderly man in a black suit stormed into the ballroom. This was none other than Grandfather Arthur, Justin's grandfather, a figure who held absolute authority within the family. The moment he entered, the entire hall fell silent. All eyes turned to him. His sharp gaze swept across the room, finally fixing on Natasha. His eyes seemed to pierce right through her, sending a shiver down her spine. What is the meaning of this? The elderly man's voice boomed, low and commanding, like a clap of thunder in the silent hall. Who authorized this engagement? His words carried an undeniable authority, making everyone present feel an invisible pressure. Justin's face instantly paled. He quickly went before his grandfather and explained softly, "Grandfather, Natasha and I love each other, we." Before he could finish, the old man cut him off. Love? What is love worth? Are you aware of the family's arranged marriage plan? His words hit Natasha's heart like a heavy hammer blow. It turned out Justin's family had long arranged a political marriage for him with the daughter of an influential local politician. This union was crucial for the family's political maneuvering, and Natasha's appearance had clearly disrupted everything. The old man's gaze fell on Natasha again. He looked her up and down, his eyes filled with scrutiny and disdain. Natasha felt her heart pounding. She could feel countless eyes on her, waiting for her reaction. "I do not approve of this union," the old man declared, his words final, leaving no room for negotiation. He looked around and announced to the guests, "As of today, the engagement ceremony between Justin and Natasha is cancelled." This declaration was like a boulder dropped into a still lake, instantly causing a huge uproar. Guests started murmuring, some gloating, others feeling sorry for the couple. Natasha stood frozen, feeling her world crumble. She looked at Justin, hoping to find a trace of support and resolve in his eyes. However, Justin's gaze was filled with guilt and helplessness. He held Natasha's hand tightly but couldn't utter a single word of defiance. At this moment, Natasha's heart was filled with confusion and pain. She didn't understand why happiness had arrived so suddenly, only to be snatched away so abruptly. That night, after the banquet ended, Natasha and Justin were alone in the garden. Moonlight bathed them. Justin broke the silence, saying, "Natasha, we can't give up. My family cannot dictate my entire life." His voice held a determination she had never heard before. "I love you. That's what matters most." Justin's words were like a candlelight in the darkness, offering Natasha a glimmer of warmth and hope. However, Natasha's heart was still filled with apprehension. She knew this family drama was just the beginning, and more challenges awaited them in the future. In the days that followed, Natasha's life felt like it had plunged into endless darkness. Justin's family exerted complete pressure on their relationship, not only imposing strict financial controls on Justin, but also sending people to monitor their movements around the clock, determined to separate them. Natasha found that no matter where she went, she felt eyes watching her from the shadows, leaving her constantly tense and uneasy. One day, Natasha went alone to the Ethelberg City Library, hoping to find a moment of peace among the books. However, as she reached the library entrance, someone suddenly grabbed her tightly from behind. She struggled in terror, trying to break free, but then heard a familiar voice whisper in her ear, "Come with me, or it won't go well for you." She turned around and saw it was the young man who had been talking intimately with Justin at the party, Michael. It turned out Michael was an informant placed by Justin's family to monitor his every move and report back to them. Now, Michael was acting on the family's orders, forcibly taking Natasha to an unknown location. After a fierce struggle, Natasha was taken by Michael to a luxurious villa on the outskirts of Ethelberg. This was the family estate, surrounded by high walls and dense woods, making it feel particularly isolated. Natasha was locked inside a room that was ornately decorated but felt cold and sterile. The windows had thick iron bars, and the door was locked from the outside. She knew this was a cage set up by Justin's family to completely isolate her from Justin. Inside the room, Natasha spent countless lonely and long days and nights. She tried calling for help, refusing to eat, even banging her head against the door, but all her efforts were futile. As time passed, she gradually felt despair, beginning to doubt if her love with Justin could truly overcome all of this. Meanwhile, Justin was desperately trying to rescue Natasha. He secretly contacted some older family members who supported him, attempting to persuade them to intervene, but they all refused. His bank account was frozen, his phone was tapped and monitored, and he was almost completely cut off from the outside world. Finally, on a stormy night, Justin seized the opportunity while family members were at a dinner party and quietly infiltrated the villa where Natasha was held. Using his knowledge of the family estate, he disabled the surveillance system and fumbled through the darkness to find Natasha's room. The moment he opened the door, Natasha was huddled on the bed, shivering with only a thin blanket over her. Seeing Justin, tears instantly welled up in her eyes, but she couldn't say a word. Justin rushed to her side and held her tightly, his voice choked with emotion. "Natasha, I'm here. We're leaving right now." He quickly helped her get dressed, then took her hand and cautiously made their way through the villa's corridors. However, just as they were about to reach an exit, an alarm suddenly blared, and all the lights in the villa flashed on. It turned out Michael had been watching Justin's every move from the shadows and had triggered the alarm the moment he entered the villa. "Did you really think you could escape?" Michael's voice came from the top of the stairs. Behind him stood a group of men in black bodyguards. Justin's expression turned grim instantly. He shielded Natasha behind him, preparing to face the confrontation that was coming. He knew this family drama had reached a fever pitch, and their love was facing an unprecedented test. The blaring alarm plunged the entire villa into a tense atmosphere. Justin shielded Natasha behind him, facing Michael and the group of bodyguards at the top of the stairs. Michael wore a sinister smile, as if victory was already his. He slowly stepped forward, his tone laced with mockery. Justin, you're so naive. Where do you think you can run with this woman? Justin gripped Natasha's hand tightly, his voice firm and strong. Michael, get out of the way, or I won't be so polite. His eyes revealed an undeniable determination, as if no force could stop him and Natasha from leaving. Michael scoffed and waved the bodyguards behind him forward. In an instant, the bodyguards surged towards Justin and Natasha like wolves. Justin reacted quickly. Using the skills he'd learned in his university martial arts club, he engaged in a fierce struggle with the bodyguards. His movements were agile, his strikes precise, and he successfully pushed back several bodyguards. However, the bodyguards were numerous, charging forward one after another. Natasha watched from the side, filled with worry and fear, but she knew this was no time to back down. Go, Natasha. Get out through the back door. The car keys are on the coffee table. Justin yelled to Natasha while fighting the bodyguards. Natasha hesitated for a moment, but seeing Justin fighting desperately for her, she knew she had to follow his instructions. She turned and ran towards the back door, silently praying that Justin would follow. Just as she reached the back door, Natasha saw a black car parked outside. The car keys were indeed on the coffee table. She quickly started the car. At that moment, a bodyguard chased her from behind, trying to stop her. Thinking fast, Natasha slammed the accelerator. The car shot forward like an arrow, narrowly missing the bodyguard, who stumbled and fell heavily onto the ground. The car sped through the night. Rain blurred the windshield. Natasha's hands gripped the steering wheel tightly, her mind focused only on escaping this dreadful place. She didn't know how Justin was doing and could only pray silently for his safety. After driving for a while, she slowed down and pulled out her phone, trying to contact Justin. However, her phone screen showed a full list of missed calls and messages, all from Justin. The last message read, "Natasha, I love you. No matter what happens, don't lose hope." Tears blurred Natasha's eyes. She knew Justin must be somewhere, desperately trying to catch up to her, trying to meet her. She decided to follow the hint in the message and head for their secret hideout on the edge of the city. It was the small cabin where they had first met, a place full of memories. When Natasha reached the small cabin, it was already the middle of the night. She knocked on the door, but there was no answer. She took out the key, opened the door, and found the cabin completely dark inside. She stepped in softly, calling out Justin's name, only the echo answering in the empty room. Just as she was feeling disappointed and helpless, she suddenly heard a faint movement. She turned and saw a figure slowly emerge from the darkness. It was Justin, covered in blood. "Justin, you're hurt," Natasha exclaimed, quickly supporting him, wanting to examine his wounds. Justin waved his hand, his voice weak but firm. "I'm not important. What matters is we leave here immediately. The family will find this place soon." He pulled a set of car keys from his pocket and handed them to Natasha. "This is the black car I hid before I came. The tank is full. We need to go somewhere they'll never find us." Natasha took the keys, a wave of warmth flooding her heart. She knew that no matter how difficult the road ahead, as long as Justin was by her side, she could face it bravely. They exchanged a look, a silent smile, and then quickly left the small cabin, disappearing into the vast darkness of the night. After traveling through the night, Natasha and Justin arrived at a remote coastal town. It was Seabreeze Harbor, far from the city's hustle and bustle, surrounded by lush green forests, a place almost cut off from the rest of the world. They rented a simple but cozy cottage on the edge of the town and began living under assumed names. The cottage wasn't big, but it was well organized. Justin used the savings he had secretly brought from his family to buy some basic necessities, and he even built Natasha a beautiful wooden bed with his own hands. Natasha took care of the household. Every day, she would plant some flowers and plants in the yard and take walks by the sea, enjoying the peaceful life. The people in the town were friendly and welcoming to the young couple. They quickly formed deep friendships with the local residents. Everyone liked Natasha and Justin and often invited them to various gatherings and events. In this town, Natasha finally felt a long-lost sense of peace and happiness, as if all the past hardships had become a distant dream. However, Natasha knew they couldn't stay here too long, or Justin's family would eventually find them. So, they began planning their future, deciding to travel to another country to start a completely new journey. They learned the local language, studied the customs, and arranged the necessary documents and procedures. On the evening before they left town, Natasha and Justin held a simple farewell ceremony by the sea. They lit a bonfire, sang and danced with the town residents, creating beautiful memories. As the bonfire slowly died down, Natasha leaned against Justin's shoulder, gazing at the stars, her heart filled with anticipation and hope for the future. The next morning, carrying the blessings of the town residents, they embarked on their journey to another country. The moment the plane soared into the sky, Natasha looked back at the land that had offered them warmth and silently said in her heart, "Thank you. This place will always be our home." Life in another country was full of challenges, but Natasha and Justin weren't intimidated by the difficulties. They found simple and pure happiness there, relying on each other, facing the storms of life together. Natasha found work at a local art gallery. She discovered she had a unique perspective and talent for art and quickly became popular with the owner and customers. Her artwork began to develop its own style, and she even gained some loyal patrons. As for Justin, he found a job as a programmer at a tech company. With his intelligence and hard work, he quickly stood out in the company. His projects were recognized by management, and he even got a promotion. In his spare time, he continued to learn new programming languages and technologies, constantly improving himself. He also often encouraged Natasha to pursue her dreams, supporting her in participating in various art exhibitions and competitions, cheering her on. Although life was busy, Natasha and Justin always made time each weekend to walk by the sea or have a picnic in the nearby mountains. They would reminisce about their past, remembering both the happy times and the hardships, which now served as a testament to their love. Their bond grew deeper in the midst of their ordinary life, and the trust and understanding between them reached an unprecedented level. By chance, Natasha learned about an international art competition looking for artwork. After much hesitation, she finally decided to enter. With Justin's encouragement, she meticulously prepared a painting based on their love story, titled Rebirth. The results were to be announced 3 months later, a period that was both tense and exciting for Natasha. 3 months later, the day of the competition results finally arrived. Natasha and Justin sat nervously in front of the computer, refreshing the competition's official website. When she saw her name on the winner's list, tears streamed down Natasha's face. Her artwork, Rebirth, won first prize in the competition. This meant her work would be acquired by an internationally renowned art gallery, and she herself would be invited to an art exhibition held in Paris. After the news spread, the art gallery owner and Justin's company management both came to congratulate them. Natasha's art career took a new turn. She started receiving invitations to various art events and met many like-minded friends. Justin also, due to his outstanding work performance, was sent overseas by his company for technical exchanges and project collaboration. Their lives were gradually getting on track, even flourishing. However, behind all this apparent success, Natasha never forgot the painful experiences of the past. She knew that all this peace and happiness had been earned through her and Justin's tears and sweat. They were no longer the wavering couple they once were, but had become more mature and resilient. Just as Natasha and Justin's lives were gradually getting on track, an unexpected visitor disrupted their peaceful existence. It was a bright, sunny afternoon. Natasha was painting in her studio when she suddenly heard the doorbell ring. She thought it was Justin returning and didn't think much of it, opening the door directly. However, the moment she opened it, the paintbrush in her hand clattered to the floor. Standing before her was a travel-worn middle-aged man, his eyes showing a hint of weariness and guilt. Natasha recognized him. It was Richard, Justin's father. She instinctively tried to close the door, but Richard quickly reached out and stopped her. "Natasha, please listen to me." Richard's voice was hoarse and urgent, with a barely perceptible tremor. A surge of anger rose in Natasha's heart. She glared at him coldly, saying nothing. Richard took a deep breath and continued, "I know I've caused you pain, but this time I truly have no other choice. The family business is facing a huge crisis. If we can't secure a large sum of money quickly, the entire family will face bankruptcy, perhaps even vanish from the business world entirely. A hint of pain flashed in his eyes. And I heard your artwork has received international recognition. We want to ask for your help to use your fame for a commercial endorsement for the family business. It's truly crucial for us. Hearing this, Natasha's anger intensified. She couldn't believe this man who had once tried to tear them apart now had the audacity to ask for her help. She sneered. Mr. Richard, have you forgotten? We are no longer the pawns you could manipulate. My happiness wasn't easily won, and I will absolutely not sacrifice it again for your benefit. She was about to close the door, but Richard stopped her again. Natasha, if you refuse, Justin's inheritance will be completely revoked. He will receive nothing, not even be allowed to use our family name anymore. Richard's voice held a hint of threat. Natasha's face instantly turned pale. She knew that even though they were living well now, Justin still had deep feelings for his family. He couldn't let go of that connection. Seeing Natasha's wavering expression, Richard continued, "This is just a business collaboration. We guarantee we won't interfere with your lives. All you need to do is attend one press conference and sign a business contract, and it will all be over. Plus, you'll receive a substantial reward for it, enough for you to live comfortably for generations." A flash of shrewdness appeared in his eyes. Natasha was caught in deep turmoil. She knew this decision would affect her and Justin's future. She needed to find a solution that could satisfy both sides, protecting their hard-won happiness while minimizing harm to Justin. Remembering the hardships they had endured, a surge of strength rose within her. She couldn't back down again. She had to face all of this bravely. After some painful deliberation, Natasha decided to be completely honest with Justin. She knew that whatever decision was made, they had to face it together. When Justin learned of his father's purpose, a flicker of disappointment crossed his eyes, but he quickly regained his composure. He took Natasha's hand and said softly, "Natasha, whatever you decide, I'll support you. We are no longer the people who could be manipulated in the past. We have the ability to choose our own lives." His eyes showed a determination and maturity Natasha had never seen before. A wave of warmth surged in Natasha's heart. She knew that no matter what the future held, she was willing to go forward hand in hand with this man. Ultimately, they decided to accept Richard's request but presented their own conditions. They demanded that immediately after the press conference, they sign a legal agreement to sever ties with the family, ensuring there would be no further connection between them. Additionally, they required the family to donate a sum of money to a designated charity to help those who had been harmed by the family drama. On the day of the press conference, Natasha stood on the stage in a long black dress, elegant and coolly stunning. With a firm and powerful voice, she announced the plan for collaboration with Justin's family to everyone present. Flashbulbs flickered below, and reporters barraged her with questions, but Natasha handled them with composure, every answer flawless. After the press conference, Natasha and Justin signed the agreement with the family lawyer as agreed. The moment the agreement was signed, Natasha felt a huge weight lifted from her heart. She knew they had finally broken free from the constraints of Justin's family and could truly soar freely from then on. A few days later, Natasha and Justin, with their savings and aspirations for the future, embarked on a journey to another country. They chose a remote island far from the hustle and bustle of the world, a place with clear blue water, white sandy beaches, and warm sunshine. They bought a piece of land on a remote island and built a cabin of their own. Every day, they could walk by the sea together, watch the sunrise and sunset together, and plan their future together. On a remote island, Natasha continued her artistic creations. Her artwork began to incorporate more elements of nature and love, her style becoming increasingly unique. Meanwhile, Justin used his technical knowledge to help the island residents establish an internet connection, improving their quality of life. They gave back to the land that had granted them peace and happiness in their own way. Time flowed, seasons changed. Natasha and Justin's love took root on a remote island, growing stronger. They were no longer troubled by family drama, no longer overshadowed by the past. What they had was each other, a love that had grown more resilient after countless hardships, and a future full of hope that belonged solely to them. And all of this was simply because, amidst the tangle of lies and truth, they had learned to bravely pursue true love and steadfastly protect their happiness.